What is up, guys? Wraith here, Greybearded Games Society. We are at it again, and this time we are going to be heading into a Kunark zone again. We've only done Kern's Tower so far, really, in Kunark. This time we're going to be going over to Warsilks Woods over in Kunark, which is on the other side of the Field of Bone. But there is a great little camp to the north that I used to use all the time. There's a goblin fortress there with a bridge, and there's always roamers and pathers, and you could pull them off to the north, if I remember, to the north, and being somewhat safe. We'll kind of eyeball it first when we get there. But it should be a pretty good spot. Like I said, we're still level 22, as you can see right here. We're gonna jump through a little book, take a little bit of travel, and jump over there. One of the things that I was thinking about when filming this is definitely we have done a lot of very classic, very vanilla zones, and only a couple of Kunark zones so far. And really, it kind of brings about the question on the TLP that we are on. Will go up to Plains of Power now. Different people obviously have a varying opinion on what is classic EverQuest and what is not. Of course, if you're going to follow like the P99 set of logic, right, it's you have up to like the Velius expansion and nothing past. To some folks, it's the Plains of Power and nothing past. But obviously, the game's been going for quite some time. I mean, for those who have been around for a very long time, even the Plains of Power expansion was a super important expansion for the game, in my opinion. It was also a very divisive expansion at the time because some people loved the travel books, some people hated the travel books, especially Wizards and Druids. Felt like you're cutting into my business. But you had the books, the rating was a whole different level. You had the key, you had the flag, it took a lot more people. The chasm got a little wider between casuals and raiders, things like that. So I mean, obviously, some people thought it was the expansion that ruined the game. Some people thought it was the expansion that jump-started the game again. Again, opinions vary highly. But where is and what is not classic is a very interesting topic on the game, especially for one that's been around for 20 years. I would love to hear back from you guys to see what you think, where is that classic line at, right? I think Kunark should be wide open. Velia should be wide open when we get there. But one thing that I really haven't done, in this playthrough is I have kept it to those older zones. Even in this level range, right, we have a couple of spots open that were from, either Plains of Power of the Shadow of Lucklin expansion, which we know probably have a slightly better experience modifier, get experience probably a little faster, like Dawn Shroud Peaks. And of course, we stayed away from Plural Caverns, though we did mention it at one point, just because we know the experience there was totally insane, because the modifier in that zone, I think, is one of the highest in the game. But I'd be interested to hear back from you guys, see what you think, what is classic, what is not classic, or if nothing else, what if in those zones within the scope, obviously in this case of this TLP server, if there's some zones we should go try to visit or some areas we should go try to beat some people up on. Like I said, in this time, we're heading over to Warsilks Woods. We're going to check out the Goblin Bridge. It should be mostly some fear kiting action for us, and we will set up camp over there, and I will catch up with you guys here in just a few minutes. All right, guys, we are here in Warsilks Woods. We are set up right across the Goblin Bridge right here. See, there's a whole Goblin Fort over here. We're set up to the north here. You can also go to the south and pull down. You want to pull down along the ravine to kind of try to get out of the way. We have our first volunteer right in front of us. He just kind of roamed up, so we're going to pull him back to us. Or not. Let's see if we can pull him. Trying to get him in range where we're hitting everything. Now, you do have to kind of be careful when you're getting things. That's getting kind of ridiculous now. Every time we cast a spell, he just walks out of range. So anyway, we are set up to the north, right over here. You have to be somewhat careful, obviously. You don't want to fall off because that will suck. Trying to get your way back from there could be a total pain in the butt. The other thing you want to watch out for is you can get some roamers. Some wildlife roamers coming in from the side. We actually took out a giant when we first got here. One of the Cromdul giants. Not a huge deal, but he was in the way, so we went ahead and took him out to clear our camp. Like I said, you can go to the north. You can also kind of go to the south. The one thing you don't want to do is try to be right here in the path. There are lots and lots of roamers in this zone. Things move all over the place, and you do not want to be out in the middle when a pack of roamers goes by or you're just begging for trouble. At the same time, we've discussed in other videos already, we are solo, we are by ourselves. Typically not the best time to get brave. So a lot of times, as soon as you sense trouble, gauge the trouble quickly and feign death if you have to. Let the pet die and just feign death. Don't get yourself in too much trouble out here, especially in these places where you're out by yourself in the middle of nowhere. It can take quite a while to get back. Alright, so what we're looking to do is pull these guys in here. Now, they're going to come in varying different sizes. You're going to get some light blues, you're going to get some blues, you're going to get some greens, but they should all be pretty good experience. The annoying ones, of course, are going to be the casters. They'll make things a little bit harder to break in. Of course, and as you saw, we had a battle master roam up, so you will have some roamers. You have to keep tabs on that. Generally, you know, if you get a pretty good clip, you can pull some things across, and then you can start kind of jumping across the bridge and trying to pull some of those guys. Now, one of the ways that we're going to have to do to split this is go old school. We're going to try for the snare. We're going to boogie on out of here. Keep in mind, I did get buffed up. Somebody's already casting spells on me. I did get buffed up before we came out this way. And my pet's going to kill himself anyway, even though I tried to tell him not to. But I did get myself buffed up before we came out here, so I do have kind of Spirit of the Wolf and some of that things going. Unfortunately, with my pet being extra special at the moment, it means we are going to have to totally reset. But he does have some buffs too. I don't know if we're going to be able to handle this many of these guys. Let's see what happens. We will see if we can just get one snared. And off the end, here comes our other friend again. So we're going to have some extra special action going on here. Let's get our pet over there and that guy. Start laying down some dot action again. This is a risky play, and probably honestly one I shouldn't be doing. I have to make sure I keep enough action at all times to make sure that I can feign death in case things go sideways. Like I said, one thing you do have to watch for with these little guys, of course, is a lot of them are going to have Spirit of the Wolf because they have little shaman friends. So you need to keep tabs on their speed when they go to boogie. Man, the attack music seems very, very loud. Apologies for that one. So let's get a snare on this guy. The pet's kind of holding his own. I think it's because he does have, like I said, some druid buffs when we swung by and got some Spirit of the Wolf action so we can move a little bit faster. We got some skin buffs as well. So we are slowly but surely going to wear this guy down, make sure we keep the snare on this dude, and we're just kind of going to kill him by ping pong balling him. Let's get the pet on him. And I think with that, hopefully we should be relatively settled. The first three. Now the problem with killing them kind of rapid succession like that also is you're not really breaking up the spawn of the area you're trying to pull, which kind of sucks, because you'll most likely get extras when you're trying to come back and pull through, unless you can pull like super fast. So let's see, we're at 17% experience. Of course, this thing's going to pop up and get right in our way. We'll just not going to forget to leave that on. So 17.5 or 17.6. So about half an experience per kill. So let's get some mana back, because fighting that many is also a drain, which is kind of inconsistent. We don't want to mess around with that too much. Now there are a lot of good spots in this zone. Kind of got to keep kind of tabs on where you want to be. The giant fort's a pretty good spot, especially if you're a duo or a small group, but it's also very soloable in some areas. The giant fort for certain classes is just dynamite in the same zone right here, because you can really get a lot done there. I know like a straight up mage does very good there. I've never tried it as a necro, so we might sneak down there and try it. Of course, we won't be able to root rot like I've done druids and shaman. In the pulling area, you pull a giant off the side, you root rot him up the hill, and kill him with the dots. But we're not going to have a root that's going to work on those guys, so it's going to pretty much have to be pet tanking. So we might give that a shot and see how we do. Of course, you know, probably a hair on the small side, because some of those guys can be a little bit bigger, but we might check that out too. You know, there are just a lot of places around here with a lot of mobs all over the place. The trick, of course, you can see from this, there's lots of places where some of the bigger names can spawn, some of the guys who will totally wreck us. So you also have to be careful what you're doing here, because you pull the wrong dude, and he will definitely finalize you with a quickness. So let's take a quick peek here and see what else we got hiding up here in this corner. Like I said, we ended up with like 3 on the very first pull, which, you know, effortless pulling. We'll go with that. We'll sneak up in here. We pretty much got all the guards on this side in one quick shot, which is just kind of funny. There's one hiding way out there. And this guy's a witch doctor, so he's probably going to cast on us immediately. Big thing is let's just get him out of here and off to the side. where our little pet is here. Yeah, and he's trying to cast some spells on us. Try to stay back here out of range, at least getting back here where it's nice and safe. At least for us. Well, I'll go ahead and get the pet on him from there, because he's going to nuke us. Pet's going after him anyway. Get the dot action. Get the fear action. And he should walk. There we go. Like I said, 2 alright, like with the rest of the guys. One of the things that it's kind of important to do whenever you're moving into one of these areas, especially if it's one you haven't done before, you know, make sure you kind of practice in this safely. Oh, what do we got here? Absolutely nothing. All right. Make sure that you kind of practice safely a time or two. Get a kind of a feel for what the mobs are going to do when you pull them. Get a feel for what the mobs are going to do when you snare them. Because, or well, I should say when you snare and fear them, to make sure generally when you're in an area long enough, you can kind of get a feel for where they're going to innately walk to or roam to. In this case, you're seeing this every time I fear these guys, they kick off to the right and start walking in that direction, which is good for us, right? They're walking more out in the open area a little bit. They're not walking straight immediately back toward the bridge, which would help us out quite a bit. Now, having said all of that, you know, this is one of those camps you can sit out here, you can pick off goblins. Again, be mindful of the spawns going by, or the roamers, because there will be some roamers. Like I said, the path in this area has quite a few roamers. We'll try to kind of see, you know, what our spawn times are looking like. So this first little spot in here can be kind of tricky till you kind of get a cycle and kind of get a feel for how fast they're going to go. But when you get everything going pretty good, and there is our dude right there. Wow, that is just not what we wanted to see. Like I said, he can spawn in a lot of places, but he's going to put the kibosh on us pulling out of that fortress, because as you can see from the con I did, this guy is level 31. He's also a rare, which means he's going to be a bit harder than a standard mob anyway, and that is just not good for us in the slightest. However, we do have another fresh face volunteer over here who roamed up the path, so we're going to pull him and come out here to where our pet is. Yeah, having the destroyer right there is really going to keep us from pulling out of the fort. That's just kind of bad luck for us, really, that he's right there in the door, too. So we'll have to keep tabs. I don't know if he's going to post up there, whether he's going to roam out from there. We'll check on him here and there to kind of see. But unfortunately, that will kind of limit what we can pull coming out of the camp. Because what I was going to, or coming out of the fort, I should say, one of the things I was going to point out, you know, from this camp, when you're solo, when you're by yourself, like I said, you can pull these guys. Once you get a cycle, you know, you've got the 3 or 4 mobs right up here in the front. A couple of roamers are going to go through. Every now and again, that volunteer is going to come walking out of the woods for you. You can take that one out. So, I mean, the camp can be a little slower or a little faster, kind of depending on how you want to do it. Most of this stuff here, I believe, is just going to be El Garbo. Yeah, pretty much. So we'll grab that just to have it. Won't stress stuff. At least we're going to get some cash. But like I said, you know, handful of guys you can work on there. Normally, what I was going to say is that you can start to kind of pull from across the bridge and just pull to whatever save spot that you're working in, whether it's this side or whether it's the other side. But with him right there, like I said, he's unfortunately going to kind of put the kibosh on what we're doing there. But that's just a little bad luck. So the little dude, he can spawn pretty much anywhere. And as per standard, I mean, if we do a who, and there's actually one other person in the zone somewhere, but it's quite a sizable zone. So just me and one person, that still makes plenty of space to get stuff done. I haven't seen him around here, so I don't really think we have competition, like I said, this particular area, and I don't see goblins kicking the bucket over there. So, but as you can see from this guy that wandered up here, you do have a couple, like if you can get to the warriors and things like that, like they're the ones that got slightly higher levels on them. The battle masters have a pretty good size range. Maybe what we can also try to do is we'll maybe sneak through, kind of try to pull maybe to the other side some and check out over there. So this was a side I remembered soloing, you know, so very long ago. And again, like with anything with EverQuest, you know, it's a little bit of a patience camp. You know, they may or may not have dialed in, so to speak, some of the timers on things. But either way, it's a pretty good spot. So what we're going to try to do, I'm going to experiment here a little bit. I'll catch back up with you guys here in a few minutes and check on kind of what the other side looks like and pull in from there and maybe sneak down to the giants for a minute. But we'll take, oh, there's our fresh face volunteer here, and we've got a nice dark blue, and we're going to kill him before we go anywhere. But we'll be back here in a few minutes, and we'll try out some of these other places, guys. Alright guys, so just kind of checking back in here while we're here still in the Warsilks Woods. We made our way down to the giant fort, which is pretty much straight south of where we're at. Now, on our way down, we did check this side of the fort here, because remember we were kind of up in this corner here. Again, these guys were starting to respawn, so we had some pulls there. We've got the roamers. We kind of got the kibosh put on us by a rare that just happened to spawn on the other side of the bridge that we just cannot handle right now. Made my way down here to take a peek, and as you can see, some of these guys right out of the gate, unfortunately, they're kind of in a nice bright shade of red to us. Now there's a handful of other guys inside, like this, I believe they're called the sapperling, and a couple of other ones that are, a little bit smaller. I got something stuck in a tree. Gotta love classic EverQuest pathing. Got a mob stuck in a tree. But if we sneak inside one, there's actually somebody else who is here, so he kind of already has the camp. For starters, he's a monk, I believe, over here working on some skills in handling these guys. But as you can see, some of them are going to be blue, some of them are going to be all the way to the red spectrum, and it's that red spectrum that's going to give us a lot of problems, right? Any of these guys can spawn in at pretty much any size. See, that one's, nice and yellow to us, but I mean, there's a multiple level difference. The red guys would most likely just give us a ton of resist, even if we were here, so I won't even be able to check again to see if the pet can handle the tanking of this on his own, even with me kind of standing behind him and healing him, mostly because, like I said, somebody else is already here, and we're not going to make a nuisance of ourselves in somebody else's camp. But the goblin camp up north, like I said, it's a pretty good spot. It's a pretty fun spot to be in. You got a handful of different size goblins too, with the warriors, of course, being one of the best. Once you get that side of the camp busted up like we did, you start pulling from across the bridge, unless you get a little unlucky like we did and immediately have a stinking rare named spawned, which, what are the odds of that? Because back in the day, somebody was sat forever looking for that guy, and in this case, with nobody here that's ever going to kill him, he'll just be up and in our way pretty much forever, unfortunately. But so is the nature of the game. Again, it's good camp, fun camp, highly recommended if you're following along or get a chance to jump around one of the TLPs. It can be a fun place to go. The giant fort here has the potential, I think, maybe in a couple more levels with a pet upgrade, potentially, where he could handle some more of the giants. I know mages do really well here at 24 and up. So I used to level one of my mages here. You take a giant one by one, pull him out the corner, and let your pet tank when you focus mostly on healing the pet more so than doing a ton of damage. And I'd be curious to see if the Necro can pull it off. I mean, of course, mage pets are known for being a little stronger here. And the other interesting thing, of course, about these Kunark zones is you just get a lot of good scenery. It's different from some of the old school zones. You have rivers run through it, so to speak, plus mountains and forests and kind of different graphics. So it's nice to step out and see some of the other places. But I think that's a pretty good spot to call our adventuring for the night. I will probably work my way back up there, beat up some goblins for a little bit. We'll maybe check on the giants later before I totally log and see, if they've come open and I can test them. But I don't want to step on anybody's camp. Again, with the server being as far off and long as it is, that guy also kind of read to me. He's probably holding down the entire giant fort by himself right now, and more power to him. I don't want to get in his way. But we'll check on a couple of those things. If we get any feedback, I'll bring it to you guys in the next video. But until then, I hope everybody has a great night. I had a good time, and we will see you guys next time.